Leon County Youth Livestock Show website, or you can go on liveag.com and find the link, and you can watch the shows remotely if you'd like. Who ended up being here on Hey, today assisting us in the show ring is our Leon County 2026 Queen, Leon County Youth Livestock Show Queen, Carly Croker. And we have a guest from the 2024 show, Allie Brewer, one of the runner-up queens of 2024. She'll be helping us today pass out awards and keep us lined out. Thank you so much. So I'd like to recognize the superintendents of the pig show, be Will Mahaffey, Edmund Clark, and Michelle Clark. Give them a hand, please, right now. Thank you.
Okay, just for the end of show after the Pee Wee Showmanship, if we can get all the parents to kind of meet me in the bleachers right here, because when we take these pins down this year, we got stackable racks, and we're going to try to get all this organized so it's not so hard to sift through these next year. So if we can get all the parents to kind of talk about this, that way when we stack them, we'll bring the racks up here and we'll start putting them in order, and it should go a whole lot easier for us next year when it's 3 or 4 or 5, 6 of us, and maybe we can do it in 2 days instead of 4. All right, I think we're ready to have a pig show, and let's go.
Hey, also, if you've got a child interested in the Pee Wee Showmanship class at the end of the pig show, the requirements are ages 5 up to 2nd grade. I'll have a little sign-up sheet up here, and you can come up and sign them up at the back of the stage. Pee Wee Showman, you can sign up at the back of the stage, ages 5 to 2nd grade. Thank you. Also, a reminder, all class winners will get your picture taken. Of course, Grand and Reserve will have a picture. And also,
Another nice class to come here in our third weight division. Young man comes out one here, and I'm not even one about making speeches about coming out the gate, but that one come out and he's the widest that we've seen all day, and it was a big forearm. Then when you get him out here and you get her out on the profile, she's tall enough at the point of the shoulder. I'm not going to tell you she's running uphill, but she's not running downhill in today's show, but one that balances all that up into a package that's mobile off both ends. She's square from her chest to the ground, which is something that we haven't seen a whole lot of this morning. One that just puts it all together in a nice, complete, well-balanced kind of a package. Appearance is good, hair, skin quality is very good. Young man's doing a good job from that standpoint. Young man in green works himself up just from the standpoint of structural soundness in this hog. This one comes actually square off both ends, goes away, got enough muscle to give you that extra look, but just doesn't have that over AST type muscle that we saw in the class winner. One that balances up very well. Kind of looks like a female should look. Underline's good, everything's good, the head carriage is good. Probably would like, if we're going to trick her up some, maybe clean her up in terms of depth of neck and what have you there. But the young man does a good job of one that just goes away square compared to the next two that they have in class. There's some give and take in terms of 3 and 4. I chose to go with the bigger legged one to be in 3, to be honest, because again, we talked in other classes, that's hard to put in animals and livestock. This one in particular, I just like to see more of her. A rounder rib, a fuller, fresher look. That one's hairy and dense bone and got good bone. But when you get behind her, you'll see her right rear leg. I don't know if that's a position from a previous injury or what, but she kind of had some hesitation in that as she goes away, and that sets her down here in the third hole. But again, one we just like to freshen up, put a little rounder body in her as compared to those ahead of her in class. The young man in 4. Comes one that is rounder bodied and fresher belly, but just gets too round in terms of the muscle makeup as we get the profile. When you get behind her, I'm not going to say that she's outside herself, but if she's not, she's very, very close as she tracks away. We'd like to bring her in just a little bit as she goes away, maybe put a more square muscle shape on that hip and hind leg that would facilitate that. As you get her here in the profile, you can see kind of how she wants to gather her hind leg up under her body. It doesn't take a real long step as she goes away, but still you got a lot to like about this. And again, skin and hair is very good. Bone is good, good enough, good job. Good enough for this particular class. Just a nice big land in the 4 hole. Here we come with one you say, hey, what's wrong with her? Me, I'd like to see her possibly in the next class or even the furthest class. One that I just took the pounds behind in terms of time. One that just needed more days on feed to be fuller, fresher. I agree with you. Whoever's got that other nut. Or maybe he was doing me. I'm not sure. Is that your little brother? Just a paid protester. Okay. But getting back to the pig. You've got a lot to balance in this particular hog. It's just there's not enough of it. She comes at you square, she goes away square. We just like to make her wider, rounder rib, fuller, fresher body. And just again, as she goes away, she doesn't have that motor that we saw in the class winner, but she has that square shape. She takes a long leg, long stride, big enough bone, big enough forearm. Just more pounds of feed makes her quite a bit more competitive in this particular class. The young lady does a good job. Skin and hair, again, great, does a good job. And you'll hear a lot of talk. And that's just a direct indicator of kids taking their time and doing their business at home in the barn on a daily basis. Young lady did a good job. Let's give a big round of applause and go to your next class. Give those super kids a good round of applause. Very competitive pair here up on the top side. Two young men, Dennis that I like, not without flaw, and there's some give and take, and I'm not going to argue that with anybody ringside if you choose to flip these. But in terms of body length and freshness and belly, bone makeup, heaviness of structure, enough look through their front end, I think these things are very, very similar. I think when this one gets driven head up, he shows some sign of a little longer extension through that front end. Next set, yeah, I'd like to raise that up out of the shoulder blade and get it up maybe a little higher compared to like this one here. But I think that's acceptable. And again, we talk about 100 boards across this country, that's an easy fix. But when you see her really take off and elevate her head, her length of neck grows about 2 inches. So that's kind of one of the pieces that brings her to the top for me. Yes, I'd like to elevate her at the point of her shoulder just a little bit. That neck set we talked about. I think when you really have to start cutting hairs between the two, because the young man in second isn't short-fronted and does have a little more elevation in neck. But one that is could be a little longer fronted and not quite as cheeky, if that's a term. Just gets a little more fluff under there, but really heavy structured, wide base. When we start really making that decision is when we start talking feet and legs. This one wants to come to me and turn in just a slight bit. It's being critical on a very good one, but more importantly, as the second place hog goes away, wants to roll just a touch there on the left side. And if you'll see that hop when it goes away, it's not quite as square to the ground as compared to the class winner. I'm not going to say that this one's got the best look from going behind, but this one has the best look going from behind in this particular class. If we're going to be critical of this one, I'd like to see just a little more in the seat of her pants, especially the lower third of her leg right there. But in terms of balance and good look and belly and freshness, skin and hair, both young men, a great job. I do just like the condition of that one. I touch better than what we see right here. But again, a very nice pair in this particular class. Let's give these two guys another round of applause. And coming out in third. Coming out in third, we've got a nice balanced up kind of ball through blue up here that just gets a little long bodied as compared to the two ahead of him in class. Maybe not as descriptive and stout and shapely as the two ahead of shape up top. The top side of that thing skeleton is bold in its body as compared to the two class winners. I'd like to make that one just rounder good and softer middle as compared to those that are in the 1 and 2 spot. Coming out in fifth here, young lady brings us one. We kept her around. I wanted to get an extra look at her as compared to the hog that we placed in sixth. One that we need to stouten up in terms of features compared to our two class winners. One that's not quite as big-footed and big-armed, big legs from hop to ground. Got a nice profile view and extension to it. It's a nice logical place to land this one here in 5 in this particular drive. But a great class, even better set of kids. Let's give them a round of applause as we go on to the next class. give these folks a good round of applause here. Just a nice class to end up the day in a breeding show. And just to be honest, when you get to this age of animal, this weight of animal, they can do a lot of things to make your day not so good. Case in point, the young lady that had the one kind of not cooperating in the class. Not a whole lot she can do about that. When they get a mind of their own at this age and weight, they get a mind of their own. Or they go off feed, or they go in heat and go off feed and stuff like that. So there's a lot of variables to get to today for this particular age and weight. A young lady comes with a Berkshire Mark Gill here. We're going to assume that she is a purebred. But maybe not, but she classifies if you get a Berkshire jackpot or a Berkshire show. Hopefully she is a pure. That one is very, very good, especially in terms of balance. When you look at it from a profile, especially that height of shoulder and that extension through that head and neck and that carriage where it sets. Then you get on top of her and get behind her, and with all that product and all that mass, she still handles it. She's square to the ground on both ends, coming, going, feet and legs are good. If you're going to be critical of this particular female, you're going to say, hey, we want to put a bigger leg in her for her size. Well, guess what? Berkshires don't have a leg that big to start with, so that's a pretty big leg, pretty big shoulder, forearm for a Berkshire period female, one that I think wins this class particularly easy. Then we come with a set of bluegills right here that are awfully good in their own right, and then cock your eyes and come to the ring. And I guess I really like the balance and completeness of this particular hog. We put all those traits together that we talked about all day in terms of foot size, forearm, mount of leg. As you do them from the profile, you say, hey, I want to see her take a longer step off that hip and hind leg. You get from behind her, she's still square, but you still like to have her use that leg a little more efficient than what she does. But you've got to admire that neck set, that head and front end. She's got a big old stout mug there, but still really neat in that road lax. Got a good look from the profile, very level in the design, a very nice kind of hog to stand second in this particular drive. From the front two-thirds of this particular gift, you really got to appreciate her. As you do her, as she goes, and then the longer she goes in this particular drive, she doesn't quite use her hip and hind leg like the head, two hogs ahead of her in class. But again, one that's just really long, extended through her neck. Why you jack her up at the point of the shoulder as compared to the bluegill ahead of her in class that tends to run uphill. One that she's got to like for a lot of things. We tone her down in the sow lot next week and start that and get her ready to go in a fairing situation, one that can make some very competitive show trips down the road. Young man brings us a really good red one here, I'll be honest. It's tough to bring a Duroc or any of the pure breeds out against crossbred shows. Although there are a few crossbred Durocs out in the world, you've got to appreciate this one from the standpoint of just balance from a profile. One that's a heavy structure for a red one, got a big leg, got a good look up through its front end. We're getting to that stage where they start to show some age in that head and neck area because of color and what have you. It's just part of the red gill that every one of us fight. But when you get on top of this red gill, one, you can see that she's either coming or going in heat, and it hasn't affected her appetite, but she's full and fresh. She just doesn't have that roundness of rib that the crossbred ahead of her in class did, one that's not as full when you talk about the top one-third of her body, but still shapely, got a good look, got enough product, one that I'd be very proud to own in this particular crossbred drive, and I would think, hey, I want a Duroc, is what I would think, and I wouldn't tell anybody any different. You can't do Duroc, it's counterfeit, right? That's the story, you just stick to it. But one, if she goes away, she wants to funnel to the ground just a little bit, but a nice red hog to be sitting here fourth in this particular class. A very nice complete hog here in class. We'd like to sound her up just a notch in her bone work. Maybe took her up through that head and neck area right there, clean her up right there, but still got a lot of shape, got a good productive look to her. This is a breeding show, and that's kind of the way they're supposed to look too as well. And to stand down here in the 5-hole in a very competitive class is not a bad place. Young man, if we just clean her up to the front one-third of her body, we move her up a notch or two in this particular drive as well. Good job. Let's give these kids a round of applause. I believe we're going to get you a champion here in just a few. I'm not a big speech maker, but I am a little bit of a storyteller, so I apologize now. Again, I started by saying it's good to get here to Leon County finally, but the truth is, I did my student teaching at Centerville 38 years ago. I lived on Jack Keating's place while I was doing student teaching, couldn't find a job. He kept me there building the round pen and stuff, and Jack and Mary were like a family away from home back then, and I really appreciate the Centerville team and the group in Leon County. It was great to get that phone call and get back here. I'd like to end up here one day, but we hadn't won the lottery yet, so that's out. I'm going to have to keep going to work. But beautiful country, beautiful people, and an exceptionally beautiful set of kids. So let's give them a big round of applause. I appreciate the opening prayer for me and the fact that we prayed that I would do what's right. And I hope that I got that phone call knowing that I was going to do what's right, because that's all I'm good enough to do. And the fact that I can't see behind the pins is an advantage to me, because I can't see that far. I don't know who's back there on the spray bottle or anything else, but to be quite frankly, it doesn't matter to me. It all happens right here in this ring. I don't know sometimes that I even see kids much, because my eyes are focused down on livestock, good quality livestock. I expected quality livestock to be pretty good here, but I didn't expect it to be that good. Skin and hair's on point from top to bottom. Kids have taken care of their homework. Their ag teachers and 4-H leaders and those people that help them at home and at the shows have done a great job. So let's give that group of people a big round of applause too. Big thanks out to Ed for giving me a call, his team, the Fair Association, all the officers that it takes to put it on. I have lost touch just a little bit. I hear rumors of what the county fairs are doing up north of us in Montgomery County. And it's just crazy what's going on for your kids. I appreciate what your community's done. I had the option this morning. I saw some Facebook posts for Leon County Fair Association and what have you, but I had the option this morning to stop at Bucky's or Woody's northbound. Guess what? It was Woody's northbound. Specifically because of what they do for you guys here, and the fact that it's still family owned, and what's the other one is too, whatever. And we spent a lot of money there. But when I had the opportunity to bypass them and get up to you guys, and I know the friends of my friends of Woody Southbound as well, Tiffany and their group over there. So I know they all hopefully are great supporters of your program. We hear the rumors of what your livestock auction does. And just remember, that's kids, lots of kids, and keep supporting that, keep going out and gathering support for that, so this goes on and continues for years. So it's the best place to raise your kids. This world we live in right now, who knows what direction it's going tomorrow. But we know one thing, we're safe right here in this barn, the kids are safe in this barn, and I wouldn't trade this still for the world. With that being said, let's crank these back up. We're going to get your grand champion, then pick your reserve. I think within this particular group of hogs, it comes down to between three. We've talked about in class. We're not going to go back through, and I talked about balance from the get-go. I think, again, we've got to be able, this is a breeding show, and we've got to say that, hey, we can go and we can sell baby pigs, and most times we're talking specifically 99% of the time baby show pigs. That's the lifeblood of what these things came from. It's the lifeblood of where they're going. They still have to be sound and flexible and functional. They still have to have their parts intact and functional. For the most part, most of the underlines today have been good enough. I'm not a subscriber to the saying that the good ones come out the side, because that's ridiculous. I have to pull baby pigs at my house just like anybody else. In fact, I've got a daughter that lives 30 minutes away and another young lady in our community that if I call them at 3 o'clock in the morning, they'll be over there pulling baby pigs when they have to. It's just the nature of the show pig world. So I try to make some emphasis on, against having to have those problems. I think there's a lot of breeding pieces in this deal. I didn't focus, or I didn't say much on the mic about the two young ladies with the white hog and the heavy muscle little crossbred earlier, but I told those two young ladies that those were breeding pieces. It's very hard to make big-legged white ones, and if we could put a rounded rib in that big white one that she had, that thing had an extremely large limb for a white one, and I wanted her to know that that is a breeding piece that, just spread right, could be very profitable. And the same thing goes with a young lady with the more moderate hog. That one there is either going to make a champion boar or a wreck, and hopefully somewhere in between, because there's a lot of extremities in that particular hog as well in terms of heaviness of structure and stoutness. It'd be one to play with, but it's not one that you feel comfortable going over. But I wanted those two young ladies to understand that before they left the ring. As we come down here, I think it just comes up to balance and base width, rib shape, freshness of body, squareness coming and going. I think for me in this particular drive, the champion's going to be one with the big mouth over here. This will be the champion. Nobody likes a pig that acts like that, but it happens, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. It is just it. Your reserve champion breeding guild here. One group that we can't leave out because you've got such a facility here. Your county, your taxpayers, the people that provide this facility, the people that maintain this facility for you guys. I'm sure it's a big team and it's a big effort. Let's give them a big round of applause as we go on out here. Again, we can't forget about our school leadership and our school administrators. Just because of our one, those guys have a choice whether they support the kids, the absences it takes to do this, or the school calendar that allows it to happen during spring break, or what have you, to make it flexible. You get in these smaller communities, not only do kids participate, but their moms and dads do as well, and a lot of them work for the schools. And it's hard to have substitute teachers for the amount of people that take the day off to go to the stock show. I know that in Swindle, Texas, we had about 60 head of staff members and students that missed several days during the Houston Livestock Show that wasn't a part of our spring break that most likely will be next year. But it takes a crew to make sure that everybody's clicking along right. Kids don't sacrifice learning in the classroom. Employees don't have to burn those valuable sick days to go watch their babies. So give them a big round of applause when you see them, pat them on the back, and thank them for supporting your kids. When it comes back out here for me in this particular dive, that second place hog comes out in this particular dive and really turns up the heat as well. He's as much as contingent as one or two of the others in this particular class, this particular dive. I think in terms of just balance and structure and look from the side, one that when you get on top of them, they've got that extra shape, that extra muscle, that extra stoutness of feature. To me, it comes down between the Berkshire Appearing Guild and the young man off here from the right that come out earlier. One that had a big forearm we talked about, that base with. It's a cutting hairs right there. I think, again, when we're talking about trying to make show pigs and sell numbers and what have you, which one do I want to take home next and put into my breeding program, I'm going to go with young man Crossstead over here on this side. Not to take anything and it deserves an extra mic moment on this particular Berkshire appearance. That's a very, very impressive female for her own right. And that one, no doubt, will be a productive female in the Berkshire breed. And hopefully, if this young lady's not going to take and put that thing into a breeding program, she lands somewhere that does. So very nice pig. Very good group of kids. Ed, is that all we needed was the two? I knew I should have been talking to you anyway. Thank you. to be proud. These three kind of race to the top, and there's one that kind of sticks out for me from the get-go, from when we initially brought them into the front, first gate on throughout the process. Granted that these gate latches aren't, most of the time they're handy and the most predictable. Sometimes they want to hang up or what have you, but it doesn't take a lot to make sure that they're latched most of the time. I'm not going to say that you're not going to have a gate that's out of square. It takes a little extra effort. For the most part, these folks handled their gate latches well. Two of them did one thing that the third did not, and then one just had more consistency throughout the process. And one of the things that we talked a little more in senior showmanship with the hopes that the younger kids are listening, that try to take what I say, or whoever the showmanship judge is at the moment, and try to put that in action as they come out within their particular drives. But one thing that I did and that I saw early on that is natural to these two individuals is when they came in the very first sort, they came out their gate and they turned their pig back to the fence while they were latching that gate shut. One got a gate latch, one didn't, but both of them used that tactic because that's the ultimate control of their pig. And you saw maybe one or two others, the pig took off from the exhibitor. By the time the gate got latched, the pig was halfway across the ring. That doesn't happen if you turn your pig back into the gate or back into the hinge side of the gate or the gate next to you. So I'm very impressed with that because you don't see that a whole lot at any age group or any part of the state. In Louisiana, maybe had one in two different parishes last 2 months ago that did that. So that's a very good showmanship skill. The other skill that these two individuals excel at, and for the most part our three of those, are using the triangle here in the middle of the ring when the judge either is standing upright or gets down onto a knee. When a judge gets down on a knee, typically they're wanting to see a chest view coming and going, and then a view going away. And the object there is the fact that you try to get as far away as you can, spin it around and go straight to the judge, get within that about 10-foot radius, and spin it back, and either go directly away or away at an angle, and then come back into a profile and just repeat that triangular process. In my mind, I like that. The other deal is the corner over here. It does absolutely no good to be behind the judge ever unless he's placing bottom up, okay? Then it's okay to hide. I don't have that problem. But if you're in the hunt and you're fighting to win and they're placing it and he's going to pin one back, you got to stay where the guy sees you. And a judge typically has a peripheral vision from about right here to about right over here. And you need to stay in that. And by going to the corner, I like my guys to come in from one direction, give me that look, spin it around, and come back across. Don't make laps around me. Now, there's a well-known judge out there in our state that says that he argues that fact, and we can argue all that all day long. I don't care. It doesn't do any good for you to be behind me because I can't see. Although I used to tell my ag kids had eyes in the back of my head, half of them believe me, and the other half got more flops than the other, so they should have figured it out. Anyway, that's another different day. But when we come down into this particular trio, we've got great kids over here that did a good job. I just didn't see the intensity, and I didn't see them excel at the triangle for the most part, and the fact that's just giving the three views that judges want to see. And we talk online or whatever, everybody wants to sell a pig, and they put a still photo. Well, if I'm buying a breeding animal or any kind of animal, I want to see it in motion. I want a video. I want to see a video profile. I want to see a video coming at me, and I want to see a video going away, whether I'm buying one, whether I'm helping somebody feed their project or what have you. Doesn't do any good for me to send a picture of Pinky laying a pin getting scratched. That triangle is what we want to see. I think there's one individual that came out here, nailed it at the gate, nailed the process in the middle of the ring, corrected herself over on the other side. Young lady in the pink is going to be your champion. If I was going to place, is this a reserve? Perfect. Reserve champion is going to be a young man. Did a lot of the same stuff. He was the other individual that, there you go, you may want that. He He's the other individual that checked himself at the gate coming in. Checked his pig off to the corner, got his gate, but he didn't get his gate last. Let's give these kids a good round of applause. Nice set as well. A little give and take here on what we're looking for in terms of just movement around the ring. I've got one that probably occasionally could speed up, and then I've got one that's definitely got to slow down. And that's pretty much what starts it. And, I'll just say, the young lady in the middle in the pink is going to be third. Just like to see that whole drive head up a little more than what it is, and sometimes it's tough. She's working hard, trying to get that done. Does a good job of being where she needs to be. You just want a little more look from that standpoint, but one that fits in the mix real well. Come down in 1 and 2 here in this particular drive, and again, it may have something to do with hog attitude, what have you, but sometimes the speed of the stick and the motion of the stick may aggravate that attitude sometimes. But both kids do a really good job. The one that just stays on that Tom Cool piece there that I maybe like to speed up a notch every now and then, but I still think check more green boxes in this particular drive, be the young lady in the red with the blue gilt. One of those easy driving kind of hogs that helps make that showmanship piece easier. And again, I'd like to gas that one up just a notch in terms of the speed at which it goes across the ring, but I'd definitely rather have it maybe in that situation. Young man does a good job, knows exactly what he's supposed to be doing. 6 speed may be aggravating the fact that the pigs want to get a little racy around the ring early. Now that thing's kind of settled in, he settled his stick, and we're kind of moving at a better pace for him. We'll tend to get up a little tight at times right here, but again, when you start seeing mechanics and doing the right things right and having the forethought of when and how and where to be, he excels in that as well. But a very good trio right here. Group of youngsters to my left here that just needs more experience, more ring time. Appreciate them, appreciate the kids here in the ring. Let's give them a round of applause again. Young lady's going to be your champion. particular drive. Let's give these youngsters a big round of applause. Still very deep set of showmen. One thing that I would say to you guys that are still in the ring is maybe get your picks put back up and come back and watch this other group. Hopefully you watched the other groups already, but it's more about that intensity coming in the gate and that speed and just kind of giving that judge that good look as you come in. That got them sorted off. One or two of these pigs here has not been acting the best in the world. Young man's pig right here didn't got to give me that look. I can tell he's got it in him, and he and the pig is just not getting along the best in the world today. Young lady with 2 whips does a good job right there. I'll just tell you on the 2 whip deal, it doesn't really matter to me one way or another as long as it helps the process. And if it doesn't, then that's a change you need to make. Looks to me like she's experiencing that to where it helps her, and that's good. I think at some point in time, though, it's a one-stick process. But again, it doesn't really matter to me. She does a good job with it, and she needs to be commended. I'll be honest with you, I can't scratch my head and drive with each separate hand. So how they run with 2 whips and still get the whole chunk, she needs to be commended in that. So good job, young lady there. Again, we're going to send them back to the ring. Appreciate their efforts. Again, you're young, beautiful, and keep at it. I'm glad you're here. Keep driving, keep getting better at what you do. Hit the road as much as you can. And those jackpots, every time an animal or a kid gets out off a trailer and through a ring, both of them get better. So good job.
Okay, y'all start bringing your Pee-wees up to the show. Start
top end again. Very good group of kids, very good group of drivers, and a lot of time spent, and you can tell it. This age group is one of those that they're coming in to messing with the big dogs, and sometimes the big dogs get bit by this age group because the quality is normally pretty high, pretty deep. Big round of applause again for the two young ladies. They come up here at the top. I'm gonna be a little critical on my champion because she does a lot of things right and with intensity. Either she's been doing it and knows that, or she listens very well and she makes some corrections or what have you. But I always have that pig where it needs to be. If I'm going to be critical of any children in terms of showmanship, maybe back the stare down a little bit. That's a lot of intensity, and I know a lot of that is internet driven, and I'm thankful that nobody's bouncing here in Leon County today, because that really gets on my nerves. But that stare is aggressiveness, and you like it, you hate it. It's a little indifferent to me. I think it doesn't get in her way because she does a very good job of getting them drove. Like I said, I'd back that off just a notch, but she puts that animal where she's supposed to put it. She's intentional about going long and coming back and giving me the chest view and using that triangle like we talked. I like her posture in terms of the difference between the two. My old man back says, hey, stand up and be comfortable. I don't think she bends over too far, where the young lady over here to my left maybe bends over a little too much. I mean, you're not the tallest yet, you will be, so you don't have to bend over. I've got a kid that was, not a kid, a friend of ours, that's a very, very, very tall young man, and they have shown the smaller pig in Houston, Texas. He had to bend over a lot, okay, to make that pig look bigger. You don't have to. Take care of your back, but I think these two young ladies do an awesome job. Young man does a good job over there on the side. His pig decided to take a break before he did. You can see the intensity in him. I think his intensity, eye contact is about right where it needs to be. You can tell he's intentional. Pig quit on him. But for me, the champion again, going to be this young lady coming at me right here. Very, very, very good job. She wanted the envelope, not the mine. My reserve is going to be a young lady here off to the right. Another great job. Good job. Good job, brother. Again, our pair over here, maybe just not quite as intentional. I would give it a little quick lesson because it's a learning environment. If your gate isn't latched, put yourself in the corner to be able to control the business end of the gate. As in any gate, the leverage is out there on the latch end. If you're opening and closing gates, for whatever reason in livestock world, the leverage, we need to be the anchor on that gate. And you're pushing a close to 280-pound hog that's a foot and a half off the ground on all four, she's going to go right through you. It's one of those things, a learning environment. You probably would be standing out here with us in the top three had that not happened. But it's a learning lesson, and it's a learning lesson for everybody, especially when you go home to Grandpa's gate. Two things you don't do: one of them stand on the end of the gate, and the other thing is try to open the gate or close the gate from halfway down the gate. That's this old tail barn talk right there, because that will get you. Anyway, great job, guys. Young man's got good eye contact and press over here. Did a good job. This is definitely the deepest set of 5 that we had in the showmanship so far. Good job. side, there's maybe a logical choice or two in this particular age group, but, you know, unfortunately, we had to excuse that one animal. The young lady was doing a great job, and then just looked like a little nerve pinch in that particular pig's back. So rather than risk anything else, go round is better for her, and hopefully the pig gets back to the pen and everything's okay with it as well. When we come out here, again, you can, in terms of putting one where it belongs and have that balance, and then Club Pig Association, and raise my daughters from 3 years old on up in the ring, because I had a trailer full of ag kids, and we were going to jackpots way back in the day, and my kids grew up in the ring, so why not shove them in there at 3 years old? From the standpoint of where we used to put a blue hair scrunchie on the tail so they'd know which one was theirs. And I can't tell you how many Pee Wee Showmanship and year-end champion Pee Wee Showman jackets that those girls put together. There's a closet full of stuff from the Texas Club Pig Association. And again, they started at 3. My oldest granddaughter started, I don't know, she's 5 now, and she wasn't 3 yet when we started going out. In her first year, she had 28 buckles from champion, grand champion overall in the market, in the show itself. Just had an exceptional female to show that we raised. But we believe in starting at this age. We believe in getting them on that trucker trailer and going to the shows as much as possible. I made the comment earlier, if you want to get good at this at the county level, then you go to lots of shows on summer, weekends, holidays, what have you, because your kid gets better and your pig gets better, and it starts right here. For me, I think it sorts itself all off between 3 individuals, with 2 in the center of the ring at the moment, here, and then the young lady who's pig off to the side over there is giving her a little bit of a fit. But there's a clear-cut winner for me that just had it all gathered together from start to finish before I took too much time on the mic. This young man right here is going to be a champion Pee Wee Showman. Good job, buddy. Just his posture, his look, his facial eye contact, everything just kind of clicks. I like his upright posture. He's got a little tilt to his head. That's fine, what have you, but that guy's got a good look in the ring as a Pee Wee, and I hope he keeps that going forward in his show career. Again, it comes down to the young lady that's coming across right here, the young lady with the Durock out in the middle at the moment. And I just think overall, with the on the flight hookup, this young lady off to my left has done the second best job overall. She's going to be the reserve. That's a good way to end up the stock show for me on this day. Appreciate y'all having me.